Hey everyone, this is Lisa from Life in Layouts, and I am back with another simple story say cheese layout for my Christmas in July. Today I'm going to be using the Whole Picture Volume 1, sketch number 22. It is a two-page sketch, but I am going to turn it into a one-page layout, which is very different for me. These photos are of when we visited Santa at Hollywood Studios. I will be explaining how the one-page layout fits into my album, but I'm going to do it in another layout that I have where it is also a one-page layout. So I will walk through that step process because that video is actually a little bit shorter. The sketch basically calls for three 4x6 photos in a landscape mode. Then it has paper spanning across the edge of the layout onto the other side of the double page layout, and then there's more photos over there. So I just took that one side of the layout because I knew that I could make it work for these photos. I really love this green polka dotted paper, but I also loved the castle with the fireworks on the back of it. So I made sure to cut it where I was just cutting the top part, the black part of it, so that if I wanted to use it again, I could. I also knew that I wanted to use this 4x6 card, and I was going to cut out the Mickey head from the card. I didn't want to use the big polka dots. I really wanted that Mickey head to be a focal point of my layout. And boy, does it. After I fussy cut the Mickey head out of that 4x6 card, I then lay my photos down. The photos are of us visiting Santa, and the top photo is very far away, and then you get closer with the middle photo, and then we're actually giving him a kiss on the cheek in the very bottom photo, and it is a lot closer up. I wanted to include all three of these photos, even though they're very similar, because you get to see a lot of detail in that top photo of where his pictures were being taken. There's two Christmas trees, there's a huge reef, it's a big green sofa that he's sitting on. It's just an amazing setup for Santa. And then the two bottom photos are obviously closer up, so you get more detail. This collection has a little bit of pink in a lot of places. A lot of the embellishments have a little bit of pink in it, but there wasn't any pink paper. So I decided to pull out a piece of pink basil, and I do use that on the far right hand side. I pulled out my border punch and cut a border edge with the pink cardstock and used that against the green polka dot. And then over on the left hand side, I used a stripe paper. So I'm really using the stripe paper and the pink paper to book in my photo and paper. It gives it that hard stop on either side and really ties everything together. Once I get the photos down, I auditioned the Mickey head and knew that it was going to look fabulous. So of course I pull out my stitching tools. I start out with a straight stitch down the green polka dotted paper about a quarter of an inch from the photos. And I did leave a space in the center because I knew that I was going to cover it up with that Mickey head. I did have to bring the Mickey head in to make sure that I had enough stitching holes and it was covered up completely. I just put a little bit of adhesive down. I had planned to stitch on just the larger words. So that would be the word magic, Noel, and joy at the top. However, after I stitched those three words, Abby had posted a layout on her Instagram where she had stitched every word of a probably 3 by 12-inch sheet of paper, and there was a lot of baby words on it. If I can post the Instagram post, I will link it below. I was like, if she can do that, especially since some of her words were really small, I could probably do it too. So I end up stitching on every single word and the stars on that Mickey head. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. I'm a little bit crazy, and that's okay. I've accepted that. I decided to add a little girl over on the far right. She's got a little Christmas tree and some presents. So I make sure that there is fun foam behind all of her so that it doesn't like bow down in my albums once I get the layout in the album. I thought about adding a couple of other embellishments, but I decided to hold off on that. I add this word ho 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 and I put that up on fun foam, but I actually have no idea why it's not on my final layout. I know I remove it at one point later on in the layout, but I don't know why. We're going to go on that journey ourselves. I do add a word phrase sticker at the bottom that says, "'Tis the season to be jolly." I pulled out the embellishment pieces and added a wreath that has like candies and trees and Christmas lights on it. I add that over to the far right. That's where I picked up the ho ho ho. And I think my intent was to add another embellishment piece over there, but somehow I lost that. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know where my layouts are going. I used my glue press to get the little garland piece down. I tested out the ho 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 over there as well. For some reason didn't like it. So I'm back looking at the embellishment pieces, trying to add something else to the layout. And I auditioned quite a few pieces on this layout. I feel like the photos are 4x6. It takes up obviously half of the layout. And I don't feel like I need a whole lot more to this. I do decide to stitch the string part of that garland up there at the top. So I add my stitching holes to that. And then I also decided to journal. My journaling says, "Tina and I had a crucial mission. Spill our Christmas wishes to the big guy himself. So we dashed into the whimsical Once Upon a Time store on Sunset Boulevard. And naturally, we couldn't resist sneaking a cheeky kiss for good luck." I used the technique of adding the washi tape to the journaling strips after I cut them out to keep them together. And I had done multiple journaling for multiple layouts. So the washi tape really helped when I set it aside for this particular layout because I cut it out in another layout. Santa is always a big hit, and it doesn't matter how old I get, I will always visit him and tell him what I want for Christmas, as well as just getting these awesome Christmas photos. I love that Disney has Santa at one of the parks. He is usually there the month of December through obviously December 24th because he's got a big mission on December 24th. I do use the foam adhesive strips from scrapbook.com instead of stacking these 3 high. Sometimes I feel like the strips are just a little bit easier than stacking them. Once I get the strips all backed with the foam adhesive, I do use my T-square ruler to make sure that the first one is straight. Once I get the first one straight, I usually don't have a problem getting the other straight because I just use the top piece or the bottom piece, depending on which one I put down first, to line up all of the others. And I decided to make sure that my journaling fit nicely between the Mickey head and that little girl in the bottom right. And then this is where I decided to go ahead and stitch the rest of that Mickey head. And I will tell you that I agree that I am a little bit crazy when it comes to stitching at this current moment. I want to stitch everything. And I love the way that this little Mickey head came out. This is where I pulled up Abby's post where she showed her stitching, and you can see the detail in that photo on my phone. It's just gorgeous. I was on a Zoom call with Nicole, and I had asked her about the ho 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 and the word cheer. Like, I sent her a picture of it because the letters are really fat on one side and really thin on the other side. So she suggested that I just put like 3 little holes in the fat side and just stitch that, and I love the way that it came out. So of course I slowed it way down here so that you can see all of this gorgeous stitching, and I did everything. Like I said, all of the words, the stars, the little star burst, I guess, except for the super tiny one. I felt like if I did that one down there in the bottom right that it just wouldn't look right, but all the other ones are done, and I will say I love it. I think that it's awesome. All right, guys, that is it for this video. Here is my final layout as well as some close-ups. This one was a quick one since it was only a 1-page layout, but I will be showing you how I add this 1-page layout to my albums in the next 1-page layout that I have completed in this series. So stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed this video, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already and you want to see more double page layout inspiration, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope that you have a scrappy day.